All right. So we are reading a book called Grounded Spirituality in our little mentorship that we hope that you will join us for. We're going to open it up to some folks just to share in, some spirituality reading. But this, I loved this. So this guy studied with a guy named Alexander Lowen, who was like the father of the bioenergetics, which basically connects body and mind. As a somatic counselor, I was really excited to read, like he met him when he was 87 years old. But anyway, he asked him, what is spirituality? And this is what Alexander Lowen said, and I loved this. It's an open and energized body, kid. You wake up the body and you become naturally spirited. That's spirituality. And there it was. A truly spiritual life is not something that exists independent of our emotional life and our physical form. Spirituality is an embodied experience. And this is what I believe yoga is all about, especially, of certain traditions. And it's really what meditation and mindfulness at the heart of it is all about. So there's really two things I want to emphasize this morning as we enter into some quiet together. And one is focusing on a place of grounding or leaning in. And so that's the place that we can always come back to, especially if we start to have things that show up that feel like it's too much. Sometimes the too much is, our wounds or traumas of the past. So there's the grounding experience. And then there's also the second piece is the allowing and the accepting experience. And in yoga, we have a term called ahimsa. It's one of the yamas, one of the ways of living that everything else is based upon. And ahimsa simply means non-violence. And I like to flip the coin and call it compassion. So we begin to cultivate this attitude of great compassion for ourselves, and especially with the parts of us that show up that are vulnerable. So, and right now we all have a lot of vulnerable parts that are showing up, all of us. And in some ways that helps me feel connected, just to know that we're all in this together. So encourage you right now to find a comfortable seat and take a moment to notice where your legs and your feet land. Begin to soften your abdomen and pay attention. In particular, just find out in this moment, what is grounding for you? What helps you feel anchored in your body and in this moment? It might be your feet on the floor. It could be your legs connected to the floor or the chair beneath you. It might even be sort of a leaning back or a leaning in, perhaps to something bigger than yourself, a loving presence or the connection of this group. But just take a moment to notice and pay attention to what helps you feel anchored in your body in this moment, right now. Let yourself breathe a few times into that anchoring or grounding. And then begin again to cultivate a way of being with yourself that holds this great compassion or kindness towards yourself, even curiosity, so that we can Just hold space for all that is inside, nurturing and nourishing our inner world. I invite you to continue to stay connected to the simple rhythm of your breath. And check back in with that place of grounding or that leaning in. I just want to ask a question of how, in this moment, do you long to relate to your inner world and to the life around you? As it unfolds. Perhaps continue to cultivate a sense of curiosity and great compassion to make room for all of your human experience, as well as others around you. So nothing needs to be excluded. So invite you right now to notice the places inside you where you might experience any tension. Any places where you might be feeling any fear or anxiety, even anger or sadness, perhaps even excitement, calm, gratitude. So sense into how that shows up right now in your body. Notice the places where you feel sensation. So what wants to be included right now? How can you make precious space for all the experiences inside of you? It's like expanding capacity for what is. Are there places that you may have been judging or pushing aside, or perhaps not even tending to? See if you can turn towards these places right now and make more room. How can you just let them be here? Just let them be a part of your experience, a part of your life. Knowing that they belong too. And knowing also that you are not alone. That in this particular time, all of us, all over the world, are experiencing similar emotions. The ups and downs and ins and outs. And in this time together, we in particular as a group are making space for our precious vulnerable places. To begin to experiment and feel into, like sense into, if there's a particular place in your body that is feeling tension or discomfort, or a particular emotion might live there. See if you want to bring a hand there, or perhaps just bring an image of light there. Perhaps an image of an embrace. And invite you to really sense into what this space might need to feel a little more freedom, perhaps connection, acceptance, compassion. Maybe just some simple words such as "I see you," or "I hear you." And so there's no need to change these vulnerable places inside. Just have the opportunity to extend great compassion and great acceptance. Just bathing in love, whatever needs attention right now. And invite you to really feel into, sense into the possibility that you could be the loving presence that this part of you needs. And then feeling into the collective loving presence that we all share. Continuing to create more and more space for our vulnerability, our tender places. Our pain, our sorrow, and angst, even beauty and wonder. Letting your loving presence be a place to land. Allowing your breath to nourish yourself in this moment. And once again, feeling back into the place of grounding for you, be it your feet, your legs, or a leaning in, or even a leaning back into something bigger than you. Invite you once again to bring your left hand to your heart space, your right palm face up. The back of your hand is on your thigh. There's this physical reminder that this is why we practice, so that we can connect more deeply inside, creating more and more space and compassion inside, so that we may do that outside of ourselves into the lives of the people that we touch. You can bring your hands to your heart space in Anjali Mudra or prayer pose. And bow your head to honor your own precious heart as well as those that you share this time with. Namaste.